Rube Works Level 5. Let's kick it. There's a fun little pun with it. In this case, we're trying to find the galoshes. Level 5 in Rube Works, the video game. Haven't checked out the other levels, certainly do that before watching this video. But we're trying to find galoshes. I'm not sure if any of you even know what galoshes are. They're actually like little, think like rubber over coverings for your shoe. Something more used in the olden days, or if you happen to be wearing fancier shoes. I personally like my sneakers, so I've never really used galoshes. But we're trying to locate them on a rainy day. There they are, right down there. Not exactly the hardest thing in the world. Get up, walk over, haha, there they are. Fun fact, level 4 was also a rainy day level. I love the background sound though. So all right, we need to figure out what exactly is going on. And as you can see, in this one, there's even less space, or there's less items that are filling it up. The other ones, there's been a lot more structure, but kind of a big open area in this one. Step 1. We have George. George is a very famous Rube Goldberg character. He is sitting there and he wonders where he put his galoshes, and he puts his hand on his head to think. So, all right, as we get harder and as we get further into this game, it gets harder and harder. So we need to figure out, okay, what could his hand do? Let's take a look at our toolbox here, whereby we have a walking beam. That's something that kind of pivots back and forth. We've got a beehive right there. A big old boot, just wear that instead. This right here is I'm going to call it a pot. It's just a fancy word for a fancy planter, because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it in French because my French is god-awful. It's filled with soil guaranteed to grow anything fast. Just add seeds. Well, we have salt, we have seeds, we have what looks like a seesaw that hangs in the air. What else we got? Ooh, we have a squirrel who's paranoid. Added fun fact. And an exercise wheel. Seems like we can figure out where those two go. But all right, what could he put his hand on, or what could he spill by any chance? My first thought being either the seeds or the salt. So let's just start with the seed. Bag of seeds. Fine print says that the flowers are very fragrant. They're sure to attract honeybees. Careful where you put the bag. George can be clumsy. I was thinking the salt shaker to start. So I'm just genuinely curious, because we can all figure out what's in salt. So George is there. He knocks over the salt. All right, but we can see it's the wrong item because we went from A to an F. Kind of like my grades. Grades at least back in college when I was trying to do Rube Goldberg. Fun fact, I didn't attend classes, I just simply built. So, all right, but I can see where this is going in that it wants the seeds to dump into the flower pot, but I am genuinely curious of what happens if we put that salt into the flower pot. So let's just test it. Why not? It's always the fun of it. Salt grows into magnificent halite formations. Yes, also fun fact, I'm a geologist. I'm not an engineer for any of you that think that. I am a classically trained geologist. Too bad for you, you can't see them. Aw, I like halite. It's really beautiful. Also a big fan of cinnabar. Anybody's familiar with that? Olivine, brilliant things. All right, let's put the proper item here. So seeds. Seeds are gonna dump into the fancy planter. There it is. Seeds dump into the pot. There we go. Okay, we had flowers sprout from that. Which of these things might be attracted to the flowers? Obviously the squirrel, right? No, we can see that this is a beehive complete with bees. So I am curious, because again, just why not? What happens? We have the squirrel nearby. Let's see, the flowers are gonna bloom. The squirrel even care, he's paranoid. Honestly, if I saw a flower just sprout up instantly, I would be paranoid too. All right, but he didn't care. So we got to figure out what to do with our beehive, and also figure out where should it even go. We don't even have anything with string right now, so it tells me that the beehive probably is on the ground. Something of that nature. Seems like it wants to hang out there. Let's see. As we get further and further into these levels, it's really going to be important to test. Stop and test and see what works. Interesting. Okay, so the bees didn't come out of there. So let's figure out, it tells me that something else needs to happen. There needs to be something else connected. All right, so what do we have up here? Metal pipe with pulleys and a place to attach something. Very sturdy, could hold a lot of weight. Could also withstand a lot of buzzing vibrations. Any clue where to attach that seesaw? Yeah, there's a seesaw. So from it, let's see. Yep, there it is. So I was wondering of, the bees on the ground, probably not going to be so good. So with the seesaw right here, you've got this flat panel, and then this little red piece on the end is a weight. It's a counterweight. That way it doesn't have to be the same size on both ends. So naturally thinking, put the beehive on the seesaw, and that probably weighs equal to the red weight on the other side. Let's try it again. I think we're going to get some more action. A to B to C. Those flowers bloom again. There go the bees. And now that the beehive has shrunk, the other side gets heavier. And since we have that pulling action, well, we can attach that string. So string to the weighted end. It's got to attach through these pulley hooks, and then it's got to attach to something. The magic something. What could that something be? Well, I see a something up here, a metal pole with a place to hang something. And I also see that this is a walking beam, something that also needs to pivot. When one end goes up, the other goes down. No need to reinvent the wheel, just some exercise. Make sure you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I'm pretty confident that it connects there, and of course, yep, clicks into place. And all right, space is filling up pretty quickly. This has got to move up and down, and it said it connects to the exercise wheel, whereby naturally, wow, that grows. That significantly grows. Wow. All right, so yeah, sits on the table. There it is. It snaps into place. So it tells me something's got to happen. Something's got to happen on top of here, which is then going to activate the wheel. Do we think the boot's going to be walking on the wheel? No, boot doesn't even want to go there. It's the squirrel. Squirrel's got to go on the wheel. From there, that's going to be moving up and down. What exactly does it do? Not sure you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And in your galoshes over here, again, the whole goal is to try to find the galoshes. These weird things are auto horns. Squash bulbs to sound horns. Horns are very loud, sure to interrupt even the deepest thinker. So it sounds like these horns need to be activated somehow. And ergo, a shoe, heavy-duty model for good old stomping. So connect the boot to here. That's going to go up and down. But now the salt. And it's the last item that we've got. So salt shaker contains table salt. Very salty. Not to be used for catching small animals. And the squirrel doesn't read labels. We never found out why the squirrel was paranoid either. So paranoid squirrel thinks all the people are trying to catch him. Grandma said he'd petrify if salt fell on his tail. Grandma's wrong. Insert Waterboy reference. Mama was wrong. He runs or hides in fear if salt pours down on him. It's a very specific thing to be paranoid of, but tells us that the salt does indeed go there. And last but not least, we've got the string. So as the seesaw tips over, it's going to drop. It's going to pull that salt shaker to the side. It's going to dump the salt onto the squirrel. And you know what? I could stop talking and just actually run the machine. George knocks the seeds. The flower's going to grow. Bees are going to move on over. Salt is then going to activate. Or salt's going to tip over and upset the squirrel. And we're going to find our galoshes. After you find your galoshes, you'll have to buy 2 automobiles if you don't want your horns to go to waste. Naturally so. Now, I am curious on this one. Is there any way to shortcut it? Is there any way? So we tried the salt right there. I don't think there's, because in a lot of different levels, you can do that. Like in the third one, for instance, you could have the rabbit take off and pull the string to open the garage door. But this is one where I don't see any way to shortcut. You really need all of the objects. Does anyone see a shortcut method? You let me know in the comments, because maybe if the beehive isn't on there, maybe it'll naturally tip. Oh, aha, aha. Solved my own problem right there. And the game's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So, all right, so we figured out a way. Go back, let's just skip the seed so that all doesn't go haywire. So, okay, excellent. Without the beehive right there, this side of the machine naturally wants to tip. So, all right, that's really cool. Oh, wait. Now I need to actually solve the machine so we can see the original, see what Rube actually did. So, all right, let's fast forward to this. And there we go. Again, not a complete perfect score because we used the hints, but we did solve the machine all the way through using all the items. So you get the 3 golden prunes. And last but not least, let's check out Rube's original. This one looks a little bit trickier to understand if you were reading the newspaper, especially if you don't have his captions behind it, because, I don't know, again, I've been doing this all my life. I can see that this is a seesaw. This one's a little harder to tell that that's salt or what even is happening in this contraption. Really cool one though. It's really unique. It gets you thinking. Again, always using something different besides marbles and dominoes, but these are true everyday objects. All right, fair. Maybe a beehive and a squirrel isn't exactly an everyday, and maybe you don't have the galoshes, but you could certainly come up with some sort of similar contraption. Maybe not instant growing seeds. All right, you know what, shush. I know what you're thinking, just shush. Just create your own contraption. Send it to me, Zach's Contraptions. Make sure to subscribe, do the thing. Stay tuned for more Rube Works as we continue on with levels 6 through 18.